friend to all of us, but she is an incredible lady. She got her DMA at Boston University, her MM and BM at U of U, under Gladys Gladstone. Do any of you remember that name? Gladys Gladstone Rosenberg. I have a lot of stories about her that I can't tell. Susan is a listed Steinway artist, and her performance are always noted by someone special, but this one I liked a lot. Glistening and dripping with drama. You've heard that before, haven't you? Appeared many times with Utah Symphony and such orchestras as Boston Symphony, Warsaw Philharmonic, Czech Radio Orchestra, Armenian Philharmonic, Westminster Orchestra, Salt Lake Symphony, chosen as American Classical Artist at the 4th International Shanghai Radio Music Festival in China. Additional performance in Chicago, Los Angeles, Nanjing, China, Madrid, Spain, Warsaw, Prague, England, Austria, Scotland, Jerusalem Center, Greece, and Connecticut. She was awarded Best of State in 2004 and nominated for a Grammy Award in 2002. She has in the past co-chaired the Summer Arts Piano Festival. One year we took 70 pianos up to Snowbird for her. That was the worst delivery I've ever done. Anyway, she has many students that have appeared in Salute to Youth. And she has helped the U of U become the 7th all-Steinway school, now with 185 Steinway pianos. And we all love Susan. So I had Pam get us something very nice. I'd like you all to stand for Susan Dumoulin. Now I'm going to ask Susan to just take a minute and tell about how keyboard education started. And back in the Salt Lake City schools, we're grateful to Jim Fenton, Rotarian Jim Fenton, for what his funds to help start a technical center. But she's going to tell a little about Dahlia Cordova.
This was very unexpected. Skip asked me if I would tell a little bit about the outreach program that we started at the University of Utah. So I'm going to take the first 15 seconds and tell you about Skip Daynes. And the delivery that he was talking about, the 70 pianos, weren't just pianos taken up to Snowbird. They had to be put on a crane and taken to these various floors because there was no way to get them up there. So that's what made it so difficult. And Skip has been instrumental in helping us to be the 7th Steinway School, and we have some of the very finest facilities, a large part due to Skip Daynes and his support. But he's also a first-rate salesman. So the first time I played with Utah Symphony in Salute to Youth, I had an upright piano that my parents had rented when I was little, and that's all I had. And so he sent me this letter saying, you know, I've been awarded $5 for music at Daynes Music. So you go into Daynes Music and he said, well, you know, you played at the symphony, you really need a Steinway. And so we purchased a Steinway piano and paid for it for a very long time, but it was, I lived in a very small house, and it barely fit between the closet and going upstairs to bed, so that's what our priorities were at the time, and I appreciate that so much. So Skip has been a long-time good friend, and I appreciate him as well. Let me just tell you a little bit about the outreach program. It was started probably 30 years ago. Bonnie Britton had an idea to take some programs to the inner city schools, and we basically did things like ensembles, and we did assemblies and kind of fun programs. But we changed that quite quickly into being outreach programs where we teach students a lifelong skill. And so we wanted to teach them how to play the piano so that they could perform, they could accompany, and they could teach, to give these children the skill to be able to use for the rest of their lives. And we first of all started in Backman and Benyon and Hawthorne and Whittier and Glendale Junior High School. And Dahlia Cordova was one of the principals of these schools, and we could not have done it without her because she supported us every step of the way. She wrote wonderful letters for us that we could use to explain what our program was and how it made an impact on the children. And it really did make an impact, but not just on the children that we were teaching, made an impact on the teachers. And the way it's set up is that our teaching assistants, our master's and doctoral students go into these inner city schools and Title I schools and teach in group settings. And then we have a class called Career Development. And the students from that class intern in these schools, so they have some support for helping them practice, or they help them with classroom management. And you can imagine that there are some issues with classroom management in some of those schools. And what we found is that it changed the lives of our students, our university students, because many of them hadn't had that opportunity to work with children who appreciated them and needed them. And in fact, some of the young children in those schools, this was the only adult conversation that they would have the whole day, because they would go home, they were latchkey kids, a lot of them, and they wouldn't have the adult supervision. And so we found that we were making a huge contribution in those schools. Principals reported to us that, and we all know that we all have to have some sort of an outlet for creativity and how to express ourselves, express our humanity, really. And a lot of those children didn't know how to do it. And so there was a lot of graffiti, there was a lot of inappropriate behavior, but the students who took the classes in piano had a way of expressing themselves. From those classes were things like cooperation, how to listen, hard work, and if you are diligent, how you can be successful. But even more than that, we were teaching them how to be honest to the score. If a composer wrote a certain way, they had to play it a certain way. We wanted to teach them honesty and integrity and love and feeling and sensitivity. And those are the kinds of things that were important, not just teaching piano and music. We're teaching them how to be human beings who could communicate and who could, function in our society. So, to begin with, in the last few years, we had Cassie Olson-Taylor, who was in charge of the outreach program. She oversaw, and now Leo Calvin is the person who's overseeing these schools and working with the principals and working with the teaching assistants to make that all work together. So we have a lot of people, it takes a lot of people to make this work. And even the teacher of the career development class, Vedrina Subitich, helps with the students, our own university students, to go in and help these children. So that's basically what we do, but let me tell you just a little bit about some of the things that have happened in those schools. One of the schools that we went to, we chose 2 children from rival gangs, and you're thinking elementary schools, yeah, there's gangs in the elementary schools. So we put 2 children from rival schools together playing duets, and they were both really talented. So we had them go from school to school in this school district playing on assemblies. And they did an article in the newspaper in Salt Lake about these 2 students, and an anonymous donor gave them each an upright piano to continue their studies. It was just really touching. So there's one story. Another story I have, there's a million of them, but one that was close to me is one of my teaching assistants was teaching down at Bagman, and she had a little boy, his parents, they were in jail, and so he was a ward of the state. And all of a sudden he stopped coming. And so she said, I don't know what happened to this little boy. He was so talented and he just loved it so much. And she felt bad, and she talked to me several times. So a few months later, maybe 4 or 5 months later, my university vice president called me and said, assistant dean called me and said, I need somebody to teach my children, and I have 3 of them, and do you have anyone to suggest? So I suggested the student, and one of those kids had been adopted by her, and so she got to continue to teach this young child. So we've had miracles and really fun experiences, and just, amazing things have happened because of this program. And that's what it's all about, is the children, not so much about the students and learning a skill, although that's really important we feel like we're making a huge difference in the community, and we're really proud of the work that we're doing, and appreciate being a member of Rotary and that you accepted me into brotherhood of sisters and brothers that professionals, and it meant a lot to me. And I just wanted to close by saying the reason this was important to me, the outreach program, because I was one of these kids. I went to Hawthorne Elementary. I was in what we call Central City, living by Liberty Park. I was raised by a single mom. I did have help along the way from teachers and people who helped me learn how to play the piano. I am the only one who went to college in my family, but these are all blessings in my life. So, so thank you for this honor. It just means the world to me. Thank you.
To do this for a little while. Some of you on the program committee know this. But you don't know all the things Susan has done. She's done more than anybody. When she went to New York to become a Steinway artist, they called me and said, "This girl is awesome." And she and Bonnie did a lot of dual piano things. So anyway, now I have the great honor to introduce to you Mio Cobden. She will change the status in Utah as the worst city, or the worst state in the nation in funding for the arts in our elementary schools. We are dead last. Last year we were 49th, this year we're 50th. So if we can get a picture of, oh, you got a picture, Josh, good. So what Mio is going to do is first she's going to introduce the students, the children. That's where it all starts. If we can get going in elementary schools again and become STEAM instead of STEM, like Florida is, and if we had music teachers like Colorado does, then we would have these things that Susan's talking about. Who is to say we don't have gifted, wonderful in our schools unless we find them? We can't find them. So what the legislature always tells me, legislature won't like this. Well, piano teachers can do it, or Daynes can do it. Teach the children. Well, that's not true. We need it in our schools. And you've seen new programs about the schools not doing homework. Well, that's the one that Florida did. They're STEAM. They do no homework in their elementary schools, and they have the arts. So the children go, they have a fun time being there, then they go home to their families and they don't do homework. So think about that. We as Rotarians are not going to be the last in America as funding in our arts for our elementary schools. Mio, can you now introduce the wonderful children that are going to be playing for us? By the way, this is a real awesome girl.
Okay, so first performer is Hina Arshad. She's from Afghanistan. She's in the 5th grade in Daynes Washington Elementary, and her teacher is Claire Swason. Did I pronounce it right? I'm from Japan, by the way, and then she's in a doctorate program. And Hina moved to the United States about 3 years ago, and she speaks perfect English. I've been here for 20 years, but she has a perfect English better than me. So she's very bright and sweet, and she has been learning piano in our program for about a year and a half. She plays the piano and also enjoys painting. She's playing Milky Way by Nancy Faber for you today. And then also, Hina said she's very nervous today. I'm too, but, and then she said, so I told her to think and imagine that everybody is potato, so that she won't be as nervous. So please pretend to be a potato for a few minutes. The second performer is Emily Cement. She was born in India. She is also in the 5th grade and attends Neil Armstrong Academy. Her teacher is Galina Diviva. She has a beautiful smile and is always happy every time I see her. She has a big smile right now. She likes to take challenges and has a great determination to succeed with anything that she does. She loves music and also enjoys reading books and playing chess. She'll be performing Turkish March by Mozart. Hila. Okay, let's give her an applause.
Mia just told me that she has only studied for 1 year. Totally amazing. Okay, before introducing Josh Wright, I want my vice president to stand. His name is Kerwin Ibsen. We know a lot about technical stuff in our store. He's the genius behind a lot of things. You saw the stereo piano playing some of it when you came in early. Well, that's the ultimate of a piano that plays long than everyone else, and you can watch him play the piano. Now, the only one that can blow that away is Josh Wright. You can, Josh. His famous entree to his introduction is Billboard #1 artist, Steinway artist, Dr. Josh Wright, is described by the Washington Post as a pianist possessing rare gifts, touch, intelligence, and the ability to surprise. And he does surprise people. Yes. He is the only one in the world that can play 2 pianos together. So he got his doctor's of musical arts degree from the University of Michigan, master's and bachelor's in music from UU. Teachers were Dr. Logan Skelton and Dr. Susan Duhmeyer. So what you figure out here, these are the young kids that can grow up to be possibly as good as Josh. And I want you to think about that because we need to find them. They're out there. But we're not looking for them, not in Utah. He is married to Dr. Lindsay Wright, who earned her doctor's of musical arts degree in the UU. And she is the one that's developing You Play Piano, which is a basic program, some of it animated by Pixar. So it's very fun for kids. She is an awesome girl, and I actually saved her for Josh while he was on his mission. Anyway, do not forget to pick up your CDs as you go out the door. Those are from Josh and Lindsay and for me. So you get a free CD for your little Christmas gift, so be sure you pick them up. Now let's listen to Mr. Josh Wright blow us all away.
You'll indulge me for 30 seconds because I think pretty much every good thing in my life, aside from my parents, have come as a result of knowing both Susan Duhmeyer and Skip. I met my beautiful wife, who's much too beautiful for a guy like me, through Susan's studio. And Skip would, like he said, saved her for me while I was on my mission. Tell all the BYU guys to get lost, so sorry. And they've just been there. Skip was the person who first hired me for my very first gig when I was 10 years old. I played for a rest home and he paid me $50, and I thought that was the most money in the entire world. And ever since then, these two have supported me and really given me pretty much every opportunity I've had throughout my career, either through introductions to other people who have also helped me with other opportunities, but also just personally, both as a musician and a person. They've both helped me become who I am today, so thank you so much. Here are 2 of Skip's favorites. The first is La Campanella by Liszt, and the second is the Rhapsody No. 2 by Franz Liszt as well.
Wow, woo. That's awesome. Josh, thank you so much. That was really incredible. And to you two young ladies out there that performed today, thank you so much. And practice makes perfect. That's all I say. Thank you all for coming today. We do have a fun book to donate to Franklin Elementary on behalf of all of our performers today. I hope that you step up and sign up for us. But there's a giraffe in my soup. And we are now adjourned. Thank you.